Hello students, welcome to our online video tutorial class. I think you have seen the previous day's video, whatever already I have uploaded. So today I'll be starting with the next part, or rather the last part of the first chapter, that is reproduction in organisms. In this portion we will be discussing today about the phases of life cycle and the last portion, that is the entire sexual reproduction and its events. So first I am starting with the topic, that is phases of life cycle. If you see any of the organisms, irrespective of animals and plants, you will be seeing that there are three phases are present commonly. Starting from the birth time, the first phase which is coming, that is commonly known as juvenile phase or vegetative phase. Second phase is reproductive phase, and the third phase is post-reproductive phase or senescence phase. So first phase, when we will be talking about, that is the juvenile phase or vegetative phase, we can understand in this phase generally all of the organisms, including all animals and plants, all are present in juvenile form, or they are actually present in childhood form. So on that time they don't have any reproductive capacity, their reproductive organs have not properly developed. So for that reason they are only obtaining food, their growth, their development of each and every system is only going on in this phase. So that's why this phase is commonly known as juvenile phase. Okay. After that, when this specific phase is finished, then the organism is entering within the most important phase, that is reproductive phase, because in this phase the organism is obtaining the capability to produce the next generation offsprings. So in this phase all reproductive organs already developed initially, so for that reason in this phase organisms can reproduce. Okay, normally organisms who are sexually reproducing, they are producing gametes, as well as who are the plants. In case of plants they can perform the pollination. So under the reproductive phase, specific few terminologies we have to study here. First thing, that in case of plant I have just differentiated the plant based on the reproductive phases. Whatever the categories I have made, first category is the annual, second category is the biennial, and third category is the perennial. So what are these things? Annual plant means those specific plants who can survive for only 1 year, and within 1 year they will be completing each and every event of their life cycle. They are producing all body parts, the growth will happen, flowering, fruiting, everything will be getting completed by 1 year. So those plants are commonly coming within the annual category. Second, biennial plants are those plants who are getting 2 years consecutively for completing their life cycle entirely. On the first year they will be producing the stem, root, branch, everything, and in the second year they will be fruiting and flowering. So after that they will be dying after the second year. And in case of perennial plants, they are surviving more than 2 years or more than 3 years. So automatically they will be getting more time for their growth and development. Their size is also very much bigger, and they are also can flower, as well as they can also produce the flower, as well as they can produce the fruit for multiple years, because their life cycle is quite lengthy. They can survive for a long time. So those plants are coming under the perennial category. Here, under the reproductive phase, in case of animals also, we have categorized the animals into two different type of breeders. One breeder is the seasonal breeder, that means the animals who are breeding or who are producing the next generation offsprings seasonally in a specific season of the year. In other seasons they remain inactive, they can't produce the next generation offspring. So those kinds of animals are commonly known as seasonal breeders. And the another category is the continuous breeder. That means those animals, specifically human-like mammals, who are continuously throughout the year they can breed. Okay, in any of the time, irrespective of any season. So those specific type of animals are coming under the continuous breeder. Here one point, always keep it in your mind, that in case of seasonal breeder, they are seasonally breeding or seasonally producing next generation offspring. So that's why they are always following the estrus cycle. Estrus cycle is a such kind of cycle where heat is generated in their body when they are ready for the reproduction. So due to production of the heat, this cycle is called as estrus cycle. But who are continuous breeder, who can continuously breed throughout the year, for them the cycle which is happening, that is called menstrual cycle. That means the cycle which is starting with menstruation or bleeding. So that's why they are commonly known as continuous breeder, due to presence of this specific cycle. Because this cycle can function in any time of the year. There is no specific season, there is no specific time. Here one or two examples we will be sharing under the plant. As an example, bamboo. In case of bamboo flower, we have not seen in our life. It is very rare. Why? Because bamboo is only flowering once in lifetime. After 50 to 100 years they are flowering once. So obviously it is very much rare case. And we can't see the flower of the bamboo. And second case, you can see Strobilanthes kunthiana, that is actually commonly which is called as Nila Kuranzi. So this specific plant also can flower once in 12 years. That means after 12 years in an interval they are producing the flower. So after 12 years you will be getting one time flowering. Again after 12 years you can see the flowering. So mostly this Nila Kuranzi or Strobilanthes kunthiana plant is available in the mountain region. So these two specific plants, their flowering time or after how many years the flowering has happened, why I have shared to make you understand that these two plants are coming under the perennial species. They are not obviously under annual or biennial. They are coming under the perennial category. Next, after the reproductive phase, the next and the last phase, that is the post-reproductive phase or senescence phase. In this phase, what is happening? Obviously, the reproductive organs are getting non-functional, okay, and the organisms are entering within the senescence phase because they are getting old. Each and every body organ, their functioning process is getting reduced, they are getting slow. So in this phase, obviously they are going towards the death. Their reproductive capability or capacity is totally get reduced in this phase specifically. So these three phases are found in case of each and every animal, irrespective of animals and plants. Now I am entering within the next point, that is the sexual reproduction and its events. First of all, when we will be starting with sexual reproduction, we have to know that is the syngamy. What is the meaning of this word? Syngamy word, if you break this word, you will be getting two portions. One is syn, another one is gamy. Syn means fusion and gamy word means gametes. So syngamy word means fusion of gametes. Fusion, that is the meaning of syn, and gamy means gametes. So fusion of the gametes is commonly known as syngamy. Syngamy can be of three types. First one isogamy, second one anisogamy, and third one oogamy. What is the difference in between these three categories? First one, isogamy. This is a type of syngamy where isogametes are fusing with each other. Now the point is, or the question is, what is isogamete? Isogamete means in case of animal and in case of plant, any organism, when the gametes are similar looking, similar structure containing, similar size, then those gametes are commonly known as isogametes. And when those isogametes are fusing with each other, fertilizing each other, then that type of reproduction or sexual mode of reproduction is commonly known as isogamy. Second one, anisogamy. Here, the gametes who will be involved, they are commonly known as anisogametes. That means both of the gametes, male and female gametes, they are not similar in their size, in their shape, in their overall structure. So for that reason, when this kind of dissimilar size or dissimilar shaped gametes are fusing with each other, automatically this kind of fusion or this kind of syngamy is commonly known as anisogamy. And at last, oogamy, which is commonly shown by human being or higher level of mammals. That is, in case of this kind of type of fusion, male gametes are small and motile and female gametes are large and non-motile. So female gametes are fertilized by male gamete because male gametes are running behind the female gamete. So in this kind of fertilization or in this kind of fusion, normally male gamete is smaller and motile, female gamete is larger and non-motile, and when they are fusing with each other, automatically that kind of fusion or that kind of syngamy is commonly known as oogamy. So up to this isogamy, anisogamy and oogamy we have completed. I think up to this point we have understood properly. Now I am entering within the events of sexual reproduction. First of all, we have to know whatever the events are present under sexual reproduction. The first event which is coming, that is pre-fertilization event. That means before fertilization of the gametes, whatever the events are taking place, those all are coming under this event. Second, the normal fertilization event or the fusion events. And the third, after fertilization, whatever the further procedures are happening or taking place, those are coming under post-fertilization event. So let's see one by one event what is actually happening within each and every event. First, pre-fertilization events, if you see within that, specifically before fertilization, two events are happening. One event is gametogenesis and second event is gamete transfer. So first I am starting with gametogenesis. From the word gametogenesis you can understand this is the process by which gametes are forming. Gameto word means gamete and genesis means formation. So gametogenesis means gametes formation. Maybe it is male gamete or female gamete, but formation of the gamete. Now the point is, if the male gamete is called sperm or spermatozoa, then the formation of the sperm is commonly known as spermatogenesis. And in case of female, if the gamete is known as ovum, then the procedure of ovum formation is commonly known as oogenesis. So in case of male, spermatogenesis; in case of female, that is oogenesis, specifically in animals. Here one specific point I have written, that is chromosome number in various cells. That specific data or that specific information you will be getting from your NCERT book, because there are only few cells have been written. Their haploid chromosome number and diploid chromosome number is written. Nothing to understand in that specific point. So you please just go through that table from your book. Nothing to understand there. So I am just crossing this point. I am just moving to the next. Next point we will be discussing here, that is the sexuality of the organism. That means based on the presence of reproductive organs, we have differentiated the animal and plants into various categories. What are the categories? First, monoecious or homothalic. That means in case of animal as well as in case of plant, this word is applicable. Monoecious word means when there is a single body but both of the reproductive organs are present. Again I am repeating, monoecious word means mono means single and aecious means body. That means single body with both reproductive organs. So automatically they can be also called as homothalic. Homo means similar and thalic means body or body part. So when the body is similar or when the body is one but containing two reproductive organs, male and female both, then those kind of bodies or those kind of organisms are commonly known as monoecious organism, and the body is commonly known as homothalic body. Next, dioecious. Di word means two and aecious means body. That means the bodies are two. And obviously then reproductive organs are one within each. That means each body contain only one reproductive organ, one body with the male reproductive organ, another body with the female reproductive organ. So that specific type of organisms are commonly known as dioecious organism. They can be called as also heterothalic. Why? Because two thallus or two bodies are different. Male body and female body both are different with their reproductive organs. So that's why they can be also considered as heterothalic organisms or heterothalic body structure. Next, in case of plants specifically, if the stamen or the male reproductive part is present, then those kind of plants are commonly known as staminate. And if you will see that in case of any plant only the female part or female reproductive organs are only present, that means those specific plants are commonly known as pistillate. So you can consider that within the dioecious category, there are two again further two divisions are coming. One is staminate, which is containing only male part, and another one is pistillate, which is containing only the female part. So up to this specific definitions we have to study, these specific definitions we have to remember also. Now I am just coming to the next point after gametogenesis. So up to this, how much I have told, this is entirely under or within gametogenesis, including chromosome number in various cells. Next I am going for the topic, that is gamete transfer. That is the process by which after production of the gamete that will be transferred to certain destination. So that specific process is called as gamete transfer. Gamete transfer can be external as well as that can be internal. Okay. In case of animal, when the gamete will be transferred externally, that means male and female both are releasing their gametes outside of their body. So that kind of gamete transfer is commonly known as external transfer of gametes. And internal gamete transfer means when the male is transferring its male gamete within the female body for further fertilization. Then that kind of gamete transfer is commonly known as internal gamete transfer. And here one point I want to say that this external and internal gamete transfer, it is applicable specifically for the animal. If you consider plants, then obviously gamete transfer will be the process of pollination, because by the pollination only the male gametes containing pollen grain will be transferred to the stigma of same flower or maybe of another flower of the same plant or different plant. So in case of gamete transfer, specifically in case of plant, that will be commonly known as pollination. That is in case of plants. Okay. Next, moving for fertilization events. After getting over this gametogenesis and gamete transfer, now the gametes are ready for fertilizing with each other. That means they are ready for the syngamy. Maybe they are isogametes or anisogametes or oogametes, but they will fuse with each other. So here we can see also under fertilization, external mode of fertilization, internal mode of fertilization, and parthenogenesis. What are these things? External fertilization means it's clear to everyone that when the gametes will be released outside of the body, then those gametes will be fertilizing it with each other. Then the fertilization will be called as external fertilization. And keep it in your mind here one point, students, that in case of external fertilizing animals, they are mostly egg-laying organisms, or they can be also called as oviparous organisms. Mostly, I am saying, not all. Who are externally fertilizing organism, they are mostly oviparous, egg-laying organism. Second, in case of internal fertilization, when the male gamete is introduced within the female body and then the female gamete will be fertilized, then that kind of fertilization is known as internal fertilization. And mostly, again, or you can say in case of all cases, those organisms who are performing internal fertilization, they are viviparous. Here also I am again saying mostly word, because all organisms are not viviparous after internal fertilization also. So external fertilizing organisms are mostly oviparous, internal fertilizing organisms are mostly viviparous. After that, parthenogenesis. Parthenogenesis, we all know what is parthenogenesis. Parthenogenesis is actually the formation of the next generation offspring without any fertilization in between male gamete and female gamete. Here, directly from the female gamete, next generation offsprings are taking birth. So this kind of fertilization or this kind of exceptional fertilization is commonly known as parthenogenesis, which is commonly found in honeybees. Why? In case of honeybees, the queen bee and worker bee, they are produced by the fertilization of both gametes, but drone bees or the male bees are taking birth only by parthenogenesis process, directly from the egg of queen. So for that reason, parthenogenesis also can be another exceptional fertilization mechanism. Here again I will be considering the plant also for the fertilization event, because this entire part I have discussed, that is only for animals. In case of plant, if you will see the fertilization process, that is the fertilization in between first male gamete with the egg, that is forming the zygote, and second male gamete with the two polar nuclei present within the ovule, causing formation of endosperm. And when the two times of fertilization is happening, that's why this process is commonly known as double fertilization. And in this specific mechanism of double fertilization or triple fusion, we have studied in class 10, but after that also in this class, in the second chapter, that is sexual reproduction in flowering plant, we will be repeating that part again in an elaborate manner. So that's why I am not entering within the double fertilization process, only the definition I am telling. Next, last one, that is a post fertilization event. That means after fertilization, further whatever the developments are happening or further whatever the structures are produced, those are all under post fertilization event. Under post fertilization events, what are actually there? First one, zygote formation, because obviously when the male and female gamete will be fertilizing with each other, they are forming a structure with containing male and female pronucleus. That specific structure is commonly known as zygote. And the fusion of the male and female gamete, whatever we are saying that syngamy, that can be also called as amphimixis, specifically for human being, when the male and female pronucleus or male and female gametes are fusing with each other, that fusion is known as amphimixis, and after amphimixis or after fertilization, that zygote structure is coming, and later on this zygote structure is getting further developed into embryo and at last in fetus. So that specific process or that specific entire lengthy developmental process is commonly known as embryogenesis. That means the embryo formation. Here you can see I have written the sequence of embryogenesis. First one, when the zygote has been formed. After that, the cells present within the zygote, the cell present within the zygote, because there is only one cell. So the cell which is actually present in the zygote or forming the zygote, that will start division, and that specific divisional phase is commonly known as cleavage. After multiple times of division, they are forming the next phase, that is commonly known as morula, that is 8 to 16 cell stage, that is morula. After that, when it will be getting developed further into 32 to 64 cell stage, then it is known as blastula, and then it will be getting more divided and forming more developed structure, that is gastrula, and at next from the gastrula, different body tissues as well as different germ layers like that ectoderm, mesoderm, endoderm. These layers will be forming in the gastrula. So after that, from those layers, different body tissue is getting formed in embryo, and that embryo will be getting developed to the fetus, that is the developed individual organism, and after forming the fetus, then it will be coming out from the mother's womb. So this is the entire process of embryogenesis, where starting from cleavage up to that fetus it is forming. I think these three events which are present under sexual mode of reproduction you have understood. After all also I am just recapitulating this entire portion whatever just I have taught. First, we have discussed about the phases of life cycle. There we have told there are three phases are commonly present: juvenile phase or vegetative phase, second one reproductive phase, third one post-reproductive or senescence phase. Juvenile phase is the phase where the organism is present in a baby form. On that time, reproductive organs have not properly developed, their reproductive capacity is not present. Within the reproductive phase, we have talked about plant. We have categorized the plant into three categories: annual, biennial and perennial, based on their survival. Animals, we have segregated them according to the season of breeding. If they will be seasonal breeder, then obviously they are showing the cycle, that is estrous cycle, heat generating cycle. And if they are breeding any time throughout the entire year, on that time they are always performing the menstrual cycle, which is started with bleeding. Here under the plant we have taken two examples of perennial plant. As an example, bamboo, which is flowering once in lifetime, 50 or 100 years after. And Strobilantha spunthiana or Nilacuranzi, that is another flower which is flowering once in 12 years, and after again 12 years again another. Now we are coming to the sexual reproduction. There we have discussed about the meaning of syngamy, that is fusion of gametes. Syngamy can be of three types. If the gametes are similar, then fusion of the gametes are known as isogamy. If the gametes are dissimilar in size and shape, then the fusion is known as anisogamy. And if the gametes are dissimilar, obviously male gametes are small and motile and female gamete is large and non-motile, then obviously that kind of fusion is known as oogamy. Next and the last, that is events of sexual reproduction, where I have entered. Within that, first event I have talked about, that is before fertilization, whatever the events are taking place, that is gametogenesis and gamete transfer. Within gametogenesis, if the male is producing sperm, that is commonly known as spermatogenesis. If the females are producing ovum, then it is oogenesis. And after that, chromosome number in every cell, that is haploid chromosome number and diploid chromosome number, that is N chromosome number and 2N chromosome number, that we will just go through from the book, nothing to understand there. And next, based on the sexuality of the organisms, I have written two categories mainly. One is monoecious, containing both reproductive organs in same body, they can be also called as homothallic. Second, I have told dioecious organisms, that means two different body with two different sex organs or reproductive organs, they can be also called as heterothallic because two different body. Under heterothallic organisms or dioecious organisms, staminate and pistillate, two kinds of plants are coming. Staminate means stamen containing plants and pistillate means pistil containing plants, or male or female reproductive part containing plant respectively. Gamete transfer, I have told external, the gamete can be transferred external of the body, and gamete can be transferred within the female body also by the male. So then it is called as internal gamete transfer. Next, I have talked about the fertilization events. In the fertilization event, I have told there are 3 types of fertilization events are commonly present. Last one is exceptional, but external fertilization event means when the fertilization of gamete is happening outside of the body. Mostly these organisms are laying eggs, so for that reason they are commonly known as oviparous. Internal fertilizing organisms, that means when the male gamete is entering within the female body during the time of copulation, so then the fertilization is happening in between the gametes, and automatically which kind of organisms are taking birth, those organisms are commonly called as viviparous organism because they are giving birth to the next generation. And parthenogenesis is a type of exceptional fertilization where male and female gamete is not even fertilizing with each other, rather from the female gamete directly the next generation offspring is taking birth, as an example in honeybee. Next, fertilization events can be seen in case of plants also. They are commonly showing double fertilization event or triple fusion, where first male gamete is fusing with egg to form the zygote, and the second male gamete is fertilizing 2 polar nuclei to form the endosperm. So 2 types of fertilizations are happening. At last, I have talked about post-fertilization events, where first I have told about zygote formation and second I have told about embryogenesis. Zygote formation is the process where zygote is formed after fusion of gametes, or rather you can say that is as amphimixis. And embryogenesis is the process where zygote is further developed into embryo, and there is a sequence of stages. First of all, the divisional phase of the zygote, that is cleavage, then it will be forming the morula, that is 8 to 16 cell stage. After that, morula is getting further divided into blastula, that is 32 cell stage, and then blastula is forming gastrula with multiple germ layers like the ectoderm, mesoderm and endoderm. And from those germ layers, when the various kinds of tissues are formed, then the gastrula is changing its structure and forming the embryo, and at last embryo is modified or developed in every aspect and form the full grown baby, that is fetus. And after that, the delivery of that baby or the ejection of the baby from that mother's womb, it is happening. So this is the total part of the chapter reproduction in organism, and with this part, this chapter is getting finished. I think this entire portion, whatever I have written and whatever I have discussed, everyone you have understood properly and you have enjoyed this video a lot. Thank you everyone.